Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we're discussing Farscape, Season 2, Episode 4, Crackers Don't Matter. The crew lose their sanity because of an unusual visitor.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
What'd you think?
I don't know what to think of this episode. What did you think?
I didn't like it very much.
You didn't like it very much. Okay. This is a fan favorite in a lot of ways.
Ah!
So it's interesting we're both not quite on that side. I have mixed feelings about it.
So, my favorite things about fiction in general, this episode throws out the window, and that's character exploration. You can't, that's one of my favorite things. You can't do that when they're all under the influence of something. So that is controlling them. They all become interchangeable. And I really hate that. I'd rather have the characters be themselves responding to a situation. I guess you could say this is them responding to this influencer, but I really don't like that.
It's still them. They're not completely different characters. I think that's the point of the ending.
They're approaching being different characters.
Yes, they're different. I understand what you're saying. I think it doesn't completely apply. Certainly, from the ending, Dargo was ashamed of what he did, and he actually apologized to Rigel.
The last bit of this episode I like a whole lot. With John smeared in puke. And then they're apologizing and remorseful about the things they did. I enjoyed that part. That was them being them.
I think the puke suit scene, that stuff, is a large part of why this is a fan favorite. That and the fact they're eating crackers all the time just throughout the episode.
I did like him shooting piles of crackers.
Oh, that makes me really uncomfortable. Like, it goes down Aaron's top, and whenever you get crumbs in your clothes, it's always really, uncomfortable.
I was distracted every time there was a shot of Rigel and crackers because I kept thinking about how difficult that would be to clean out of the puppet.
Yes, they almost broke the puppet in this episode.
I'm not surprised. They really abused Rigel.
The force feeding scene where Dargo violently assaults him.
That made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, that had to be reshot because the original scene was too violent.
It's still pretty violent.
Yeah. I think that's another part of the reason this is a fan favorite, is because this is a fairly standard sort of sci-fi episode. I'm sure you could pick half a dozen other sci-fi shows that have a very similar plotline to this episode in one of their episodes.
Everyone goes crazy.
Yeah. Farscape pushes the envelope quite a lot further, though. A lot of the time, they all go crazy. They point guns at each other, and then at the end, like, whoa, that was close. Phew. Let's all go get a drink. Whereas in this one, they are actually really completely awful. I mean, not just, Dargo assaulting Rigel.
And then John being emotionally abusive towards Chiana.
Yeah, which is regarded as a near rape or rape threat.
I took it that way and it made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's deeply unsettling. I don't think it is. Based on what John says, I think he was going to kill her. But essentially it is because Chiana says, no, don't do it.
Either way, it's a
It's
gross display of power.
Oh god, it's way off into, like, there's a line, and this crossed it by a mile. Whilst that is deplorable, that is what sets Farscape aside. That and the fact that John was, like, really cut up about what he did at the end. Shannon's kind of laughing it off, and John says like he doesn't know where it came from, it's just there, and that he doesn't know how to take it back.
There were moments that I liked a lot in this episode, so I can see why it's a fan favorite. It's not for me, though.
It's not one of my favorites, but certainly I like the puke suit.
I like the puke suit.
Running around invisible.
Yeah. I also like during the gunfight, Aaron asks John, "Have you got any spare cartridges?" That's really funny. I like seeing Scorpius in a goofy shirt talking about pizza and margarita.
Yeah. Kill her, and then we can have pizza. Classic Scorpius. He's always doing that kind of goof.
John going on about how great his eyes are. That was funny.
Humans are superior. That's another great send-up of sci-fi trope.
Yeah, I really like that line because humans are treated as superior usually in sci-fi.
Yeah, they're the best. They make everyone friends. They build communities and knit the world together. They're going to be the people running the galaxy, not through force, but because everyone loves them so much. No, on Farscape, they're just terrible. Like, his eyes are so bad he couldn't even see. It's not that he couldn't read the writing, it's just that he couldn't even see the writing.
It's a good joke because humans don't even have the best eyes on Earth. Why would we have the best eyes in the universe?
What is it? Squids or something have the really good eyes.
I don't know. Ours are terrible.
Yeah, well, our eyes are decent, but in terms of Earth, they probably wouldn't be in the top 10. I say that. Oh, they probably wouldn't be in the top 10. They're probably like 2,000 or something. They're probably nowhere near the top 10.
Also, the idea that John is able to save the day because he is deficient, that's really funny. I wish that stuff happened sooner. Or maybe there was more along those lines. That would be really funny. I mean, it was funny to me, but I don't know, maybe you want more or sooner. It took too long to get to the stuff I really liked.
If anything, I think that shows that Farscape has tapped into something good, in that it sends off a lot of cliches and tropes. And as the audience, I can only really speak for myself, but I'm eating that up. When they start playing with expectations and stuff, that's what I want to see. Like, the first half of this episode is fairly standard by other sci-fi shows.
Yeah. Invite someone on, strange things start happening.
Yeah. So it's almost feels like a bit of a grind for Farscape. The second half sets it aside, but it should be like that from the start of the episode.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, that they fell into a familiar pattern and didn't disrupt it soon enough for my taste. So they bring someone on, and John is resistant right from the beginning, which I like a lot. Why would you bring on this alien? It's going to cause problems. And then it does, but then it takes too long to get to, okay, now let's change up how this usually goes.
Chaltix was hilarious, though.
Him screaming that he is magnificent made me howl with laughter. It's really funny.
He's so kind of humble and confused. He's walking around on the ceiling shooting beams of light and stuff. John murders him as well.
Stabs him.
Like, really horribly. That's not just shooting him with a laser gun, he just stabs him in the neck or something. Well, whilst he's on the ground. There's no attempt to throw him in jail, he just outright murders him. Which could be considered appropriate self-defense. The guy was incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, it needed to be done.
But John still seemed to kind of enjoy it. It's pretty twisted. One odd thing about this is they never really explain what's going on.
Yeah, they explain other things and hope you make the mental leap.
So what was causing them to go mad?
I don't know. I don't get it. A conclusion I reached that isn't really supported is there was light coming from the walls, but they couldn't tell because it was gradual. I don't know.
He only started doing that 2/3 of the way through the episode, though.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It really doesn't quite add up. So it's not the pulsars because, well, they were a red herring. It's tempting to think that the crackers are poisoned, but crackers don't matter. So they're also a red herring. All we have to go on is Zan says that when she was near Traltix, the effect was stronger. So is it just him?
I guess because it affected Pilot, and Pilot can't see the light.
Yeah, but Traltix never went near Pilot. In fact, he wanted to get away from the core of the ship. John's putting him in quarters really far away. So it really doesn't even explain why they went mad in the end.
Was it just him, and then it had nothing to do with the light at all?
Yeah, I
Wait,
think the pulsar light did nothing. I think that was a complete red herring.
Okay.
It was Traltix that did something, I guess, because that was part of his plan.
I misinterpreted this whole thing. I thought it was the
Again,
light,
it's not
and then,
really explained, though.
and then he was amplifying it somehow.
It could have, well, maybe the pulsar light did affect them, and then by the time they were out of the pulsars, he generated enough light to sustain the effect.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening.
Yeah, it could be that. I don't know, though. It's not... I would say ambiguous. Maybe others would disagree, but I think they just don't really hit on it because it kind of almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really. You just need to know he's causing it somehow. He's responsible. He is in Traltix. What is his name?
T'_RALTIXX.
That guy.
I love how his name arbitrarily has an apostrophe in it.
And John knew?
I get a feeling John maybe put that in for fun.
That's even better. I am so glad the crackers had nothing to do with it. That would have been really bad.
The whole episode's called Crackers Don't Matter. It's there from the outset.
So we know.
Ignore the fact they're eating them in every single scene and going slowly insane. Would you agree that there's a lot of good ideas and things in this episode?
Yeah, there are some good ideas, some good effects. I really liked the Scorpius hologram. Lots of funny things, good one-liners. It just didn't. It wasn't cohesive, I guess.
I know what you mean. I really don't know what to think of this one. It has a bunch of things I like. And the episode's okay, but the weirdly dark tone puts me off, and the fact that a lot of it is just John wandering around with the camera spinning around his head. I loved it when the Scorpius hologram starts talking and just steps out of the beacon. That's almost quite a creepy effect to me.
It looks cool, and more Scorpius is good. It's weird that I don't like this episode, now that I think about how much I do like about it.
It's fine.
Yeah,
You can get all your favorite drinks and mix them together, and I don't think you'd like the result.
So I guess Dargo and Chiana are an item now?
Are they?
I don't know. She was hanging on him.
They are fond of each other.
She did his laundry a couple episodes back. I didn't think of anything of it back then, but now I do.
Dargo says he likes Chiana. Chiana says she likes Dargo. Maybe they'll live happily ever after?
Nah, one of them will die.
Whoa!
You can't fall in love. Otherwise, one of you will die.
Okay. Or both, I suppose.
Nah, Dargo will die a warrior's death.
You would say that because you want Chiana to live.
Yeah, well, I want her to live, and he keeps talking about warrior stuff. He said it even in this episode, you are no warrior.
He wasn't wrong, though. John isn't the most threatening guy on the crew.
No. Or person. Just, I would put Aaron above John.
Oh, yeah. I think the only person that's less threatening than John is Rigel.
I don't know, Rigel's pretty threatening.
In a diplomatic way, perhaps.
If Rigel came floating at me in his little chair, I'd be freaked out.
Not that he's going to beat you up, though.
I didn't say physically imposing.
Yeah, but that's what Dargo says.
There are many ways to be a warrior.
No. I don't buy that.
You don't buy it for 3 microns?
There was no units of light.
No,
Equivalent of lumens or anything. Which is fine.
I'm sure you were disappointed.
Not really.
I don't believe you.
Well, not disappointed. Just, there's an emptiness in my soul, which will never be filled.
Oh, this episode continues a trend I don't like, and that's Zan basically doing nothing. She keeps having really small roles or being sidelined. Here, she is spending most of her time getting off through the sun and whatnot. And then at one point she gets knocked out. And this happens all the time. She's not an active participant in a lot of the plots, which I don't like.
They talked about things that happened to her in the first episode of the season.
Is that when she was crazy and then they dropped that plot?
No,
and
she's still like that.
She seems more normal, though.
She's constantly praying.
Yeah. Okay, maybe... I'm guessing this leads somewhere, but for now, it's not, and it's distracting.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I can't really say anything other than,
Right.
She's not been in season 2 much. But we've had a Dargo episode, and then a Chiana episode, and then a Bottle episode, so...
Pilot does more than she does.
Yeah, because it's a Bottle episode.
I really liked...
He always gets time in Bottle episodes, because that's pretty much the only time he's there. If they're mucking about on a planet, all he does is sort of phone them up now and again. Give them meaningless advice.
I liked that he decided he doesn't like them. Because why would he?
That seems so mean coming from Pilot. He's such a kind of mild-tempered guy.
But I could see him harboring that feeling, and then this was able to come out. I bet that's how he does feel, but he puts up with it because he needs to take care of Moya. Moya supersedes, oh, I don't want to hang out with these people.
He's kind of naturally subservient.
Yeah, it's built into what his people do.
They touched on this earlier when they lopped off his arm, and John wondered why he wasn't super angry. Pilot kind of just shrugged it off, like, yeah.
It happens. But how could you not hate people that ripped off your arm?
I'll grow back. It did. It already has, a long time ago.
Still.
Well, he does hate them. He's really passive-aggressive. Or is he? Because he's out of his mind, so... Who knows?
See, that's the thing. He's out of his mind, so I don't know how much I can rely on what he said.
Well, all the things they said came from their brains.
Yeah, but I don't know how it affects their brains. I don't know if it simply removes a filter and agitates them, so then they're saying things they actually believe deep down, or is it inserting things in... I don't know how it works.
You're right. It's fairly ambiguous.
I think that's the problem I have with the episode. If I knew that it was just a filter remover like alcohol, okay, then those are ideas that were bouncing around in their heads.
But that would be bad, because that would make all of the crew horrible.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
I would like the show because of what John said.
That would kind of border on thought crime. as people have thoughts that they would never act on. Intrusively, you can think things.
Right.
Like when you're standing somewhere high up and you just think, if I jumped, kill myself in front of everyone, that would be hilarious. And then think, well, I'm not going to do that though, because that's mad.
Maybe tomorrow.
So, yeah, I could see why they didn't go all out and say, oh, yeah, these characters really think these things. Because then people would say, whoa, these are not good people.
These are deplorable characters. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. I'm glad they didn't do that.
You're right. You're right from the outset that when the characters are twisted, then you don't know how much it reflects on them, and it's almost meaningless to speculate. So I think that's probably what also prevents me from really liking this episode, in that the small snippets of character drama we get at the start and end are good, but everything that happens in the middle is dark or funny or whatever, but that's all. There's no sort of depth to it. Which is probably why the funny stuff stands out, because funny stuff can be shallow.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was a lot of funny stuff, but it wasn't enough to carry the episode for me. More funny stuff than usual. At least it seemed that way. It could be because of the structure of the episode, it just stands out more, but it did seem more frequent.
The actor in the Trolltics makeup,
Was he actually blind?
no, he had mirrors inside the suit,
Mirrors.
so he could see out of the top of it,
Oh,
like little periscopes.
yeah. That's pretty cool.
It'd be nice if they got someone who's actually blind.
But then they wrote off his blindness and made him effectively someone who could see.
I don't know if he was blind. He keeps talking about how much light there is, so I guess he could see.
Well, his
What?
senses are heightened, and
Well, there's another thing. If you say someone's blind, that doesn't mean 0% vision.
yeah, but it didn't even look like he had eyes.
Yeah. You can't really take anything he says as fact, though. He's unreliable.
That's true.
For example, did the cloak actually have a limit? Would
No.
it have exploded? Because Rigel left it on till 11 and 12.
Yeah, 12 Mippa-Pippies.
Oh, yes, they reference back to that. There's a few other references, like the puke hat. You recognize that hat?
No, but I recognize the goggles.
Oh, where were the goggles from?
When they were on that sand planet? Is that
Yep.
what that is? Okay.
So the blood runs clear. And the hat was Larac's hat from the one with the intelligent virus.
Oh, okay.
It's weird. They just remember things and bring them back. It's weird. Like, if it was just a hat, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. Didn't need to be that
Effectively,
one.
it is, but it is a hat that has appeared before, so that makes sense. I don't know why they go out of their way to. Well, it's probably just they have the prop sitting around, so they're like, oh, well, we'll use this hat.
They have the props, and it's rewarding for the audience. And probably for them, too.
Weirdly,
Hey.
like, how. I only know this because I looked it up on the wiki. Or it said that. I don't know how someone knew that. Someone out there likes Farscape and hats a lot.
That doesn't surprise me. That there has to be overlap between hat connoisseurs and Farscape viewers.
This episode is proof that there is. Because someone put that on the wiki. Thank you, wiki submitter. You've enriched all of our lives. Do you have a quote from the show which you would like to share?
I was going to share the humans are superior one, but don't worry, I have another one. I never run away. I strategically maneuver. That was Rigel.
Yeah. Cheeky little guy.
Poor guy. He got force-fed and then held hostage, basically, by Aaron.
He didn't seem too affected.
No, he wasn't getting into arguments or acting weird.
Maybe that's just because he's kind of awful most of the time.
He can't enhance it anymore.
He was just a little bit more sort of bickery.
John was really rude to him. Said that he stinks.
Okay, of all the things John did in this episode, that doesn't really rank highly.
No, that's really at the bottom. Or I guess at the top of the list. Depends how you ordered the list.
You know what we should do?
Eat some crackers.
No, crackers don't matter. We should watch the next episode where they find a massive deposit of cheese. And then they say, oh, the crackers did matter.
You're onto something.
Am I?
No.
Okay, well, that's the end of this podcast episode.